leveled against the wall. Something about the way it squashed in on itself reminded me of a cartoon character, especially because it didn't peel off the wall and drop like the lump of clay had. It looked wet, as if it had just been plucked off someone's clay wheel and weaponized. Probably because it was still damp, the suction kept it attached to the wall as it slid to the floor. "Joseph!" a woman's voice called from the front of the room. "What on earth are you doing?" There was a teacherly vibe to her tone that would have had me stopping whatever I was doing immediately and looking appropriately sheepishly. But not Joseph. "Don't you dare," she warned. "You put that down immediately." A manic laugh erupted from the far end of the classroom, and, against my better judgment, I peeked above our table shield. Joseph was now shirtless. He had, either accidentally or on purpose, I couldn't tell, managed to wipe his hands over his torso after touching the damp clay, and left streaks of brown in their wake. It almost looked like really poorly applied war paint. Maybe drunkenly applied war paint would have been a better description. His neatly cut, pale blonde hair was sticking up in tufts, and his cherubic face now had an unhinged, sweaty sheen to it. His blue eyes were glassy as they watched someone in the doorway. I couldn't see who because the open door blocked them from me, but I assumed it was our teacher lady. "Do you think she's going to get him to back down?" Sabrina whispered, peering over the top of the table next to me. "No, I don't. Not even a little," I whispered back. "Look at that cheater's face. He's lost the plot." "I don't know. I think—" Before Sabrina could finish yet another sentence, Joseph grabbed a curved clay cutting blade and hurled it toward the door. Whoever was on the other side of that door yanked it shut just in time. The blade's handle hit the door, then bounced off and landed harmlessly on the floor. I looked at Sabrina. "Told you so?" "You needn't look so happy that a man has lost his mind." "A cheater," I corrected. "That a cheater has lost his mind." "Well, at least you're not still harbouring any anger over Michael the cheating scumbag and the trollop." I took pains to smooth out my expression. "I'm totally over that whole thing." Sabrina nodded. "Clearly." The door opened again, and two burly men in white smocks charged across the room in a manner that implied they were familiar with this type of situation. They tackled Joseph and pinned him to the ground. Somehow, during the takedown, he still managed to maintain a soundtrack of manic laughter. That alone was cause for concern. Sabrina and I straightened up from behind the table and dusted the remains of all the broken pottery off each other. The two bouncer-like men hoisted the still laughing Joseph to his feet, but he refused to stand. Every time they tried to get him to put his weight on his feet, he collapsed like a rag doll. Eventually, they gave up and dragged him toward the door, his feet trailing on the floor. And he was still laughing. It was a little unnerving to witness, almost enough to make me feel bad for him. And then I remembered how we'd gotten here. A lady, whom I assumed was the teacher voice lady, stepped into the room and held the door open for the men. She looked like an evil librarian from a children's TV program, painfully thin, dressed in some type of Victorian-styled black full-length dress, with her dark hair piled high and neat on top of her head. Her pinched expression showed her annoyance as the two bouncers negotiated how to get Joseph out of the room. There were a few attempts and a lot of awkwardness, as Joseph kept trying to cling onto the doorframe, and the bouncers didn't have enough hands to keep hold of his wriggling form, keep him upright, and remove his hands. "For heaven's sake," the evil librarian lady said, as she slapped Joseph's hands off the doorframe, and the two men quickly shuffled him out. When Joseph's unsettling laughter faded along the corridor, she faced the